welcome. I hope the weather is great wherever you are. Today we're going to do some drawing. For about an hour, we're going to spend some time drawing. I'm going to show you some things I've been working on, drawing-wise, some techniques I have. We're going to be drawing two main things today. One is a battle map. A lot of my drawing for Level Up with Louie is going to be Dungeons and Dragons based. And that's just the way it's going to be because that's what I'm into drawing. And actually I have some products up on DM's Guild that I've drawn and they're selling up there. So this is what I'm into drawing. This is what I'm into creating. And I want to share that with you. If you want to take any of these lessons and draw something that's not D&D based, please do. And as always, send your drawings to me on Level Up with Louie Facebook page, and I'll put them up in the link when we get this going. That'll be cool to see everybody's drawings out there. What you might need to get into this drawing session. One, pad of paper. Pad of paper comes in handy for sure. I like to have a pencil and a handy pencil sharpener. I got this electronic one. It's the way to go, really. You get some nice sharp points right there. I always like to draw with a sharp point. Sometimes I use a mechanical pencil. Most of the time I'm using regular pencil sharpener. A pen of some sort. This is the graphic one. That might be written backwards to you. Put the show in a mirror. And also a eraser of some sort. I don't really trust the pencil erasers as much. For something quick, but to erase a larger area, one of these erasers works out great. I also have some backup pens and erasers, just in case my normal ones like disappear in the middle of this or something. Also, I have two beverages with me today. One is chocolate milk, my friends. Delicious chocolate milk. I had coffee earlier. It's 3 o'clock now. I shouldn't be drinking coffee this late. That's good. That's real. And then the other beverage, of course, is water. Delicious water. Always refreshing. Thank you, the Geeky Bear. That is awesome. You could still use that product on Zoom. People want to check out some things. Little Empire is where I have some products up. Geeky Bear is talking about a dice castle that Joe from Little Empire created, sculpted and hand cast and hand created. Maybe we'll do a Twitch at some point about how he does some of his products here on Level Up with Lou. You can show some of his sculpting and casting. If you want to see a cool video, there is a cool video up on the Little Empire YouTube channel about him pouring some castings. Go check out that. All right, now that we have our stuff, pencils, paper, pen, eraser, water, let's jump over and get into some practice drawing. We're going to spend a little bit of time right here getting into some practice drawing. Here, this time I'm going to be using a real piece of paper. And you can see I put little X's on this piece of paper in these corners to let me know where I am on the screen. And we're going to do some practice drawings at first to kind of get our arm loosened up and our mind going a little bit. And all of these practice drawings will come back around to pieces of the actual drawing we're going to be doing. Battlemap and Owlbear. Here we go. Some of the first things we want to work with, just really quick to loosen up, is some circles. Just some basic circles here. And again, this is just to get the hand going a little bit and kind of get that all working out there. I'm going to have to look up every once in a while and see where I am on the screen, because I know at some point I'm going to be drawing and you're going to be like, I can't see you anymore. I can't see you. Well, you can see me now. Very quick circles. Just, that one was a little too much there. See that little loop right there? I don't like that one. Let's go a little more serious when we go here. Sometimes when I draw, I have my hand resting out like this. You can see on this paper to kind of brace the hand, and then I work it like this. Boom, boom, boom. And then sometimes just for practice, I will draw in the opposite direction or start in a different spot on a circle. So you can notice I'm going from the top down and around, top down and around every time. This time I'm going to go from the bottom up and over, bottom up and over. It's just getting the hand used to drawing all different directions and all different styles is going to be part of what learning to draw is. Without, see, it didn't connect that one. I wasn't paying attention on that one. But this would look great. This almost looks like a cobblestone path a little bit. We're just doing some circles, just getting the hand going, trying to make nice circles. And then if you want to go back and practice some more circles, what you can do is go back and practice putting circles inside of circles. Just trying to match the shape of that other circle. It almost looks like a target at that point. You can go smaller and smaller. Again, just getting the hand loosened up. Oh, those are looking nice. Circles inside of circles. Great, that's a little bit of practice right there. Another thing that we're going to practice for this lesson is we're going to do some shading patterns and some different texture patterns throughout this. There's different ways to make trees look or feathers look. And there's a great fill texture that you can start practicing and learn, and this can work in so many applications. I'm going to show you that one now. It's a fill texture, and it's based on 3 lines repeated. 1, 2, 3. There's my first 3 lines, and they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to match up. As you practice this, those little lines will get better and better. So what I'm going to do is start to fill this in. You're going to draw 3 lines that are coming from an angle from that. So 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to go 3 lines that are at a different angle to all of those. So let's go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to come back up here and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Sometimes they overlap a little bit. I don't know if you can see. Ooh, yeah. See how sometimes they overlap? That's all right. That's part of this pattern. This is part of learning this technique right here. It's just kind of letting your hand go a little bit. 1, 2, 3. Sometimes you can put a 4th one in. But the idea is you just start working this pattern. 1, 2, 3. Trying not to have 1, 2, 3 and then another 1, 2, 3 next to it. Or just squared off. I mean, even though this makes a great pattern itself right here. You can do 3s like this over and over. That's more of a formal pattern, something for brickwork or for like a texture of a basket or something like that. But what we're doing here is just this fill pattern. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then sometimes you just do, that one's a little off there because it's almost too long, but that's okay. That's how this fill pattern goes a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You can see how that's starting to be a texture right there. Starting to fill in to be some sort of fun texture. Shade, light, moonlight, sunlight. There we go. Trying to find those little X's again so I can line up that paper. All right, now the cool thing about this fill pattern, that's like a tight fill right there, that they're all close together. But you can use this and pop it out a little bit bigger. 1, 2, 3. And I'm gonna space it over a little bit. 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Those are almost 2 parallel right there. Should have angled that one a little more. But I'm just spacing it out. You can space them out even farther, and you can see it starts to fill with the same sort of texture. But the tighter the weave, the thicker the texture in a way. So we have a little spot here that's filled in. You can see a little Bob Ross emoji going there. Yeah, like definitely an inspiration. Bob Ross and Commander Mark. I don't know if anybody on the East Coast might have remembered Commander Mark in Secret City. I grew up watching him and Bob Ross and painting with, my mom was great at doing a lot of crafts and drawings with us, and both my grandmothers were amazing artists, and we would do a lot together, and they taught me a whole lot about, and they just have the same gentle approach as both of them. They just kind of let's get into it, happy accidents, any mistake can be turned around, so it's super cool. Bob Ross for the win. Right, different texture, and so on some of these textures and patterns, you're going to want to spend time getting out a page of your sketchbook and filling the whole page. with the tight texture, with the medium texture, and kind of come down the page with the texture, filled out as much as you can, or kind of do a basic shape drawing and fill it in. And this is a great pattern to learn, that 3-line stroke right there, coming off of each other. This is can be used for a lot of fill. The first time I saw this texture pattern was in high school. This guy was doing comic books. He was in an art class I was in. And I was amazed just by the look of it. And he taught it to me at that point, and then I've learned it and I've practiced it ever since. Great fill texture right there. Okay, the next couple practice drawings we're doing here, this next one, and if you are watching this later on video or something, you can pause and just practice this as much as you want until you feel you got a good handle on it. These next ones are going to be some foliage in a way, or the edge of trees and the edge of bushes and stuff right here. And there's a couple different ways to do this. I'm going to start off with just kind of my basic idea is, let me show you what a little tree looks like. I'm just doing these little shapes right here. I mean, honestly, it is just squiggle lines going on. All right? Basic squiggle lines. I'm just going to fill this out a second, then I'm going to give you some techniques on how to practice this out and some ways to mess with it. So that's a little tree right there. Oh, it's not the side view. This is a top down because we're going to be doing a battle map with these. We're in a battle map for Dungeons and Dragons is a map you would have on the table while you're playing or on the computer. Look at that happy little tree, exactly. And then you'd put miniatures on it and play with those miniatures and stuff. So some great ways to work on this, this action here. You want to work on some uniformity and then blow that up a little bit. So I'm going to go with uniformity here, and I'm just going to practice doing these little bounces right there. These are kind of soft curves right there, soft curves going on. That gives me some uniformity, and then you can see where that would work. You do a couple quick ones based on that, and that gives you the different levels of the tree, the different leaves and parts pushing out. You can go a little bit sharper. And it isn't like a sine wave. A sine wave is kind of uniform peaks and troughs. This has a sharp trough here, and a sharp trough and a softer peak on these. So these ones are a little sharper. A little too sharp there, maybe. All right, so you're working different levels there. You see there's a little difference in those two. That one's a little softer, but a little sharper. And then to work on some variation on your heights here. Check that out, right? The edge of a cut lawn right there, kind of peeking out into the road area. All right, so then you can take those. I usually do, my hand does 3 at a time, almost with these textures. 3 is a pretty good number. Like with these, 1, 2, 3, 4 almost seems too much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, too much. 3 is a nice, your hand can get behind a 3. So with these, the same sort of thing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I feel my extenders are a little long on these, so I'm working on, something I'm working on is trying to make all of them even, so that first start and the end ends up instead of long ones there. So I'm working on something. I'm always working on something. I'm always looking at my drawing and figuring out what I can do better. I criticize it. You all will criticize your drawings. Don't stress. Be happy. You have more paper. You have more pencils. You're going to be able to draw everything again and get back into it. And with these, you're not going to make them all straight unless you're on a straight. So you're working on also making them curve a little bit as you come around. All right, one thing you don't want to do, and I just did right up here, and again, don't is not low key. Everything's low key. That's right. You just gotta love them little trees. Look at that little guy. There's a little squirrel nest up here. Little squirrel living right there. Happy little squirrel lives right up there in that tree. Low key, I lost my train of thought on that one. Here we go. Doing these little squiggles. Oh yeah, this little loop up here. I'm trying not to do loops. You see I did a little loop up here. And again, this is all pencil right now. It looks a little darker when I bring it up. I'm trying not to do loop-de-loops when I do these. Loop-de-loop. Try not to do the loop-de-loop. That kind of blows the illusion of the drawing. You're going to end up with some of those in there, here and there. But I'm trying not to do those. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you're making... All right. That's some practice drawing. We've spent about 10 minutes now. The last little one, and then we're going to get into some actual drawings, is a little technique of like a feather texture is what we're going for here. So this is going to start with some points, triangles. We'll just do a line of them. Some of them can be a little different lengths, but most of them you want to be about the same length. Time for hot chocolate, friends. Woo-hoo, hot chocolate. That's good. That's good. Whoever thought of melted chocolate to drink? Kudos to them. All right, we got our lines there. Again, we're just working out some textures here. Now, what you want to do here, I'm going to do it kind of big here. Is you're going to not come from these points. We're going to do another layer, but you're going to come up inside a little bit when we do those. So you're going to come up into that point a little bit, and when you do your next one, you can see it filling out here. I'm not coming from point to point. That would be almost a diamond pattern if you went point to point. But if you have them overlap a little bit like that, it looks like the feathers are overlapping. Ah, great, Rabbit Hutch. Yeah, that's it. That was good. I'm glad you like that mug. Yeah, and hot chocolate is great. A rabbit pencil. Oh my goodness. You're ready to go. Maybe we'll draw some bunnies. I mean, there'll be Dungeons and Dragons bunnies, so they might have fangs and stuff on them. But maybe at some point we can get into drawing some bunnies and where they live. So some of these feathers it's not exact. I mean, if you imagine a bird or an animal with feathers, those feathers aren't going to line up exactly the whole way. But you can see I got a little bit of a pattern of what looks like overlapping little triangles going on there for feathers. Good. All right. That's our basic. That's our basic drawings. That's our getting our pencil ready, doing some sketches. Again, you're watching this later, pause it and take your time doing these. Mess with them. They're not going to look the same as mine. That's totally okay. Because mine don't look the same as the people that I think are amazing at drawing. And sometimes I look at my drawings and I go, Louie, walk away. What are you doing? And then I come back to it because I realize we all have to start somewhere. And let me tell you how I got better. About a year or so ago, it was a year and a half at this point, I wasn't drawing as much as I used to in the past, and I had kind of given up on the whole idea that I could draw. I've done illustration and graphic design, which is different than drawing, and I was like, I'm not going to be a drawer. And I was like, nah, I came across a project, my friend Jimmy was like, hey, will you do this Dungeons and Dragons adventure with me and do the maps? I said, I haven't done drawing in forever, but I'm going to give it a try. And I practiced, and I drew. I bought a sketchbook specifically for that, and I drew in the sketchbook, and there were pages and pages of things I didn't like. But eventually, after practicing and drawing and spending time every day, every couple days doing it, there was something I liked in there. And I was so overjoyed that I was like, I actually like what I drew. So stick with it. Stick with it. Practice a little bit every day. In the beginning, you might not like what you're drawing, but every page you fill is going to get you farther, make you happy. I just want you to be happy, all right? Here we go. The idea of a battle map. And I'm going to do, what I'm going to do here is, we're going to do kind of a quick one. And then we're going to go into some details about how you can fill that out. But the idea of a battle map is you have a large rectangle on the table in front of you that you're going to be playing on. All right, have that beautiful rectangle there. I'm reading some of the messages over here. Right? Yeah, you can. Yes, I used to draw people too, and I used to do some sculpting, and I forgot that the head was bigger and rounder. Right? You don't know until you practice it or somebody shows you. It's so great to take an art class with somebody and have them show you, like, oh no, this was good, but you got to go this way. And being hard on yourself, it comes with the territory. Like, you compare yourself to other people a lot, and that's never a good way to go about. Of course, you can compare yourself to other people, but hopefully you're not down on yourself because of that. That's a life lesson there, right? We're always going to be comparing ourselves to other people. Just kind of work through that and know that you can get to where they are with hard work and a little bit of practice. Some people are just born with natural talent, right? You can be a little angry at them. Not really. It's awesome when somebody has natural talent and then they really develop it to be an amazing talent. All right, rectangle. The idea of a battle map is you're going to have some place to interact. And here we're going to have, I'm going to just do some basic shapes here, and then we're going to get more detailed with it. We're going to have a road that these people are on. I'm just doing some light lines, and then I'm not connecting them all. Sometimes when you're drawing in your beginning shapes, and even when you come back and do some inking, you just want to have some light lines there. Now this isn't to scale either. If I was doing a battle map that miniatures were on, I would, sorry that light keeps jumping in and out. I'm gonna press a button and see if this helps focus it down at all. Locks it in at all. There we go, that's not jumping now as much. Do some light lines, suggest things. You don't have to have everything solid and thick on every line, so they're broken up some. There's a road, and here's a little glen, an open glen over here, all right? A little space. Now I'm gonna go and I'm doing this small, and then I'm gonna break it out and then kind of expand on different areas of this map. So at the end, it's gonna be up to you to kind of put all these pieces together into whatever battle map you want. But I'm gonna start with, we have some boulders. A cool thing about boulders and rocks, they're not just circles, they have kind of edges to them too. So I'm drawing shapes that have like a 1, 2, 3, and then a rounded side. Rocks, some boulders. Rocks usually like to have a big one, and then they're really, really happy when you give them a couple buddies. So I'm gonna throw in some little buddies here. And I'm just allowing my hand to kind of freeform these a little bit. And then later on when we ink this, we'll have a little more control over this. Little rocks, little friends going on here. So these are some boulders. And boulders sometimes have multiple sides. That's great, Geeky Bear, doing some painting like that. It's so fun to come back to art. It's something, in all kids out there, stick with it. Don't get, a lot of adults will art when they're young, your age, and then it'll disappear from their world. And then they come back to it later and you remember how fun and joyful it is just to create something on the page. So I recommend sticking with it. Notice some of these rock shapes, they're like, they're almost squares and rectangles with a little bit of edges over there. So I'm just doing some rock shapes in here, all right? The fun thing about rocks is we're gonna get into finishing some of these off, all right? So there's some rocks and a little clearing. Now trees. I'm gonna flip this page around and show you a little bit about how I do trees real quick. So if you're looking at the side of a tree, you'll know it has a trunk, a tree trunk coming up, has some branches coming off of it. It's just very, very basic here. It has some branches coming off it, right? Now the foliage, we're in spring, summer, the foliage on the tree is clumped around these branches. So you have like a group of foliage there, one here. There's a branch coming towards us here, coming out. So you have a group of foliage here. And you see these circles are kind of adding up. And as you go towards the top, they kind of come in like this. So they're overlapping. If you're looking down on this, those circles are overlapping as we come down, right? You're kind of seeing that? We see circles of foliage, the clumps of the leaves. So when we're drawing that in a top-down view, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to draw as if I have this one here. Here's a circle, but I'm looking down on it. Here's this circle here, and it's kind of overlapping a little bit. And this circle, and I'm going to go around, and I'm going to make, like, this is the lower part of the tree here, doing some circles like this. No, I need a sip of hot chocolate. I just can't stay away from the hot chocolate. I feel like I'm racing the clock on these sometimes. Like, we have an hour, I want to get to everything. I tried to limit the amount of stuff we're drawing this time, but of course, here we are. All right, bottom layer of circles. Now this next layer of circles, you'll see it's inset a little bit because it's this one. So you have this edge where you can see this part of the circle here, but now this part of the circle here, so it kind of steps up. So here's a circle, here's a circle, here, and this is just giving us an idea. And on the top is this top circle. So you have these different circles, kind of just, yours are going to look however you want to shape this tree. Pine trees are a little different. We're doing this tree. Now, that technique we used earlier when we're coming around, boom, 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 boom. What we're going to do here is we're going to start with the top one, and then we're going to work our way down the layers of the tree. So this top one, boom, 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 boom. And all these don't have to connect. You can leave them unconnected a little. And now I'm going to choose another one. Now, in this circle, where this top one overlaps the circle, you don't do the boom, boom, booms inside of there. Please don't call them the boom, boom, booms. I don't know. Make your own noise. We're going to start to do some zoop, 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 deep, dop, dip, dingle, dangle, dingle, plink, plunk, plunks. We're doing, I am not on the map. I am actually, so I flipped my piece of paper around. I wanted to show you how I'm going to do some of these trees up here on the map. So we kind of broke out for a second, and now we're coming over here, and I'm just doing these kind of on the side. So I show you. Again, this is a small version. This is more the actual size I would draw them. Oh, I got some little loops in there. And all of these don't have to connect. And all of them don't have to be perfectly on that circle line. You can make them kind of live how you want. But we're going down that tree, going down these circles here, till we get to this lower layer. And then these two are overlapping, so we'll just do something, a little squiggle in there that looks like a number 5. It's a good number. See how this is filling out? It's starting to be layers of trees. So we're looking down on that tree. And then to fill in some of these, you'll just add some of the little squiggles in here. And then some little lines help here and there. I find in tree lines 2 is the number more than 3 for some reason. Okay, we're starting to see how that tree looks top down, right? Starting to get a feel for that. Up top, one more. Like I don't know if I'm going back over with, here's a pin. Here's a pin. And I'm just tracing over, but I'm also letting the pen do the work. If it wants to be a little different, it can be a little different when I do the inking. 3, 4 at a time. And how you make these little edges here kind of determines what kind of tree you have. So I would recommend going looking at some pictures of trees, top-down map pictures. You get a feel for how they cluster and what those clusters look like. See, I'm just doing some lines here and there. Those are some of the lines in the end of the day. Sometimes I'm like, I don't like that line. That looks fake. That doesn't look real, but whatever. Having fun. Having fun drawing. There we go. Just doing some inking on there. You can see that's starting to look like a tree, like a full happy tree. So let's go back to the battle map, and I want to put some of those trees in some areas. I just wanted to show you how I constructed that tree. Again, circles, fill them out, start at the top, and work your way down. Start at the top, top to top, coming out here, coming out here. Back to life, back to the battle map. Fresh point. Wow. All right, so over here, I'm gonna right now just put in some basic circles of, this is like my bottom layer of tree circles. Again, these are smaller to fit on this drawing area, but if I was doing an actual battle map, they would be larger. They would be almost 1-to-1 size. So just putting some trees around. These are the basic bottom circles. Just getting a feel for some trees in here. All right. And now I'm going to start at the top. I don't need to do a little circling. You know, you can do little circles, but I know I'm going to be doing that. So I'm just going to start with some wiggles in here. I'm going to be coming out a little bit. Now these wiggles are a little tighter, a little smaller, because obviously as this is scaled down a little bit. You can see I'm just getting the same sort of pattern. It's just a little smaller. Wiggles. And with the trees, it's fun just to take your time with them, and you don't have to connect every line there. It doesn't have to be a purely connected line, just like we did with these road lines. You suggested having some of those broken lines in your drawings, in your illustration, is it's as if light is hitting it and highlighting it and kind of blurs out the actual edge of that line and stuff. If I was a juggler, I would have caught that. Boom, boom, boom. Little trees, little trees. Right? So I'm just filling out this. I'm going to start at the top as if there's a circle up here, some smaller circles. This is the top of trees. Checking our time there. Well, yeah, I'm not a juggler for a little while. We'll see. I've had multiple fairs cancel on me. Cancel on all of us. It's not just me. It's a whole community. If you guys want to support the Renaissance Festival community, y'all, there's a lot of great events like Digital Ren Fair. There's people who stream. I know the Gwendolyn show does a lot of streaming. She's doing one tonight if you want to hear her read some stories. No word yet on the North Carolina fair. Well, the word was right now they're good to go. They're keeping an eye on everything. The owners of the Arizona and Carolina fair are very on it, and they sent us out an email saying, hey, we want to have a fair. We want to make this happen. We're just, you know, it's up to the powers that be a little bit, and how we can get a vaccination, defeat this thing, we're all working together to make this happen. And then Maryland, same sort of thing. I haven't heard from them yet, but I know the Smith brothers are on it, and they're watching that closely right now. So we'll know at some point. Again, doing little circles, making those little do-do-do's. Remember we did those earlier. Do-do-do, 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 do-do-do. Trees and trees and trees. Sometimes I move my sketchbook around as I'm drawing. I'm keeping it very still, just so I can make sure I keep it in the frame. But if you're moving the sketchbook around is part of the process. Like, don't think you have to draw, like put it in one place and draw like that. Even though that does help you learn how to draw at every angle, you keep it moving around. I hope to see all of you all in the fall too. Yeah, it would be great to be doing festivals again. Going a little stir crazy with all of this, but doing this sort of stuff, and I have plenty to keep me busy. But I know I am missing doing the shows and performing and seeing the guys. And look at that, I like that little tree. You see how these are coming together? How we're looking at the top down of the tree here, right? Looking good, everybody, looking good. Please send me some of your drawings. Let me know how you're doing. I like to see what you're up to. You don't have to either. Feel free to do what you want with that. I'm just suggesting if you want to share some of your art with your friends out here, you can share some of it. Boom, boom, boom. And then some of these, you just do a couple. You just do a couple. You don't have to do another complete line of them, but you can draw. That's the beauty of practicing and sketching. Make your trees look however you want. You can spend as much time as you want getting into the details. And if you go find other artists, map artists online, there's a great one I know called 2 Minute Tabletop. I've seen some of his videos and he does amazing work. Definitely one of the ones I look at and go, oh, I'll never be as good as him. But I've been practicing and I'm about a quarter of the way there to being, in my mind, how good he is. So give me another 5 years. I've actually enjoyed his drawing so much that I've gone out, I've seen some of his role-playing aids and some of his map stuff at a local gaming store. So when I saw those, even though I didn't quite need them for the game I was playing, I was like, I'm getting these. I've watched his videos, I'm gonna support him. So that was super cool to see some of his stuff actually out in a game store. All right. I'm going a little quick on these trees just so we can get to some of the other stuff here. So that's a tree there. That's kind of a too quick of an outline, but another tree. Boom. We got some trees, we got some rocks, we got a road, and this is kind of a clearing over here. So again, you're making a map that's a little intriguing. You're going to come down this road, you hear a noise over this way. What's going to happen? You hear a noise over in these woods. All right. We're at about 20 minutes left, and we still haven't gotten to the owlbear. And that's going to probably take a little while. So I hope nobody gets upset if we go a couple minutes over. But at the same time, let me show you this little thing with rocks. And then the rest will be for your imagination to fill in a little bit. All right, we got these rocks over here. Rocks are pretty fun. Let me switch my paper around again so we can see the middle right here. All right. Thank you, Geeky Bear. Again, Commander Mark, Bob Ross, totally trying to be, yes, a bunny. A bunny would be faster. All right, rocks. Got these basic shapes here. The fun part to make the rocks start to look like rocks. And again, rocks always like to have a couple little friends next to them. Little broken off pieces of rock. You have different edges of rocks and different flat faces and stuff. So I'm going to pull up almost a triangle of, all right. I'm going to come up, make some edges here. See how these lines are just kind of filling. Again, rocks have some soft angles and some sharp angles, but usually when they're up top and out of the ground like this, they've got some pointy sides to them. Right now they're with a bunny friend. All right, we'll see what we can do. So we got some edges there. Now the shading on some of these rocks, you pick a light source, like the way the light is coming in. I'm gonna say it's coming from this direction. It means this is lit This is a little darker, so you can just come in and hit it with a little bit of shading there. And shading is just parallel lines on this one right now. We're just using parallel lines. And then if you have parallel lines that are a little spaced a little apart, that's a little less shaded. All right? Looking fun. So I would do that with these rocks on the Battlemap. You come in here. You can even go in the trees a little bit and add some shading on the sides. The light's coming in this direction. You might do this with colors, like a deeper green if you're painting on these, or watercoloring. Great, but that shading really makes it feel like rocks now. Like those feel like pieces of rock sitting around. So you can see how that would all work into your Battlemap here, right? Lay those out, put those rocks in, and then you can come back in and just put little parts where it's little grass or little rocks, or along the road there's some little rocks on this path that maybe somebody notices these rocks are disturbed, and that's why they head up here into this clearing. And then out from behind here, maybe there's some sort of cave entrance going on here. And you hear a growl, and a stomping of feet, a rustling of the leaves. Out pops an owlbear. Woo! Here we go! Practice that map. Draw some maps. Maybe we'll do a dungeon map at some point too. All right. The owlbear. I've been thinking of a way to break this down into different steps, and I think I've worked it out. For a simple, straight-on, fun, cute little owlbear, we're going to start with a wide V. All right, a wide V, which are going to be the eyebrows of this owlbear. You can almost see them right there. I'm watching my video back. Good one, Louie. Good one. That looks good. Oh man, yeah, you're solid. All right. So, boom. Boom. A wide V. Good. Boom. Boom. Wide V. All right. So let's take this wide V. Sometimes it's going to be different. That one's a little different than this one. That's okay. We're practicing. We're going to start with the eyes and the face, and we're going to build down from there. All right? About the middle of that line, do a little circle. Right, ending right there at that line, and there's another one, a little circle. Okay, this is the time when you can follow along and kind of do step by step with me here. Next, we're going to come up a little bit higher on here, and we're going to connect it down to here. We're going to do another little circle. Here we go. Boom. Almost to where that point, not quite to the point, almost to that point. And then another one here, another circle. Remember we practiced some circles? Boom, this is the eyes of the owl. All right. Now we're gonna do a little beak action by coming down a little bit on here. These little points here, coming down a little bit into that circle. Beak. See how that's going? We're going to come back and add some texture and do some things to this in a little bit. But now, since it's an owlbear, half owl, half bear, he's got a mouth. He's got sharp teeth in there. So for me, what I did was, I went a little bit off of this edge here, a little bit down. I come down, almost just make a box. All right? A little bit down there, and then you can put some pointy teeth in there. All right, now finishing off the head here, we're gonna extend these little points out a little bit. So they're a little farther, they're a little bit out. And we're gonna bring a little line back down underneath, all right? See how that looks? We can start here and come up a little bit. And then the head, the top of the head, we're gonna come a little bit outside of this eye. We're gonna come up a little bit from this eye, and we're gonna end up a little bit from this. Sometimes I put a little mark here so you can see where I'm heading to. A little bit up to a little bit over. And then, all right. Looking good, looking good. All right, now we're gonna come down and make the head here. We're gonna do 2 lines. We're gonna come from the edge of this eye here. We're gonna come out a little bit at an angle. Going on, good? Good, everybody, you're doing great. It might be fast. Again, I'm gonna put this up later. You can watch it on Twitch later. I'm gonna put it up on YouTube and you can go back and repeat these steps. It took me a while to kind of figure out what steps I wanted to do it in, but we got little eyes, big eyes, that's not right, beak, right? Boom, mouth, teeth, we got some ear parts, head, come down for the sides. Little eyes, big eyes, beak, ear parts, head, mouth. All right, from here, here's where I'm gonna do a little bit of a sketch that we can go back over, but I'm gonna do a little bit of an angle here, and then a little bit of a circle for the bottom, all right? It's like a big oval right there. I just kind of gently lay it in. Now here's where we're gonna get, let's see, we got about 10 minutes left. All right, this is where you're gonna be a little freeform. You're gonna decide what you wanna do here at this point, but for me, I'm gonna put some of these feathers in by doing what we saw before. That's kind of the top of his head there. And from here, we got that big circle. We're gonna do this a lot with drawing. You're gonna draw these circles and then fill them in. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can almost see he looks like a little bird there, but he's a bear, so he's huge. And those, again, just like with the trees, you do some circles and then you fill them in. You go over, that basic circle is there just to give you an idea of where you're headed. All right? I'm gonna come in, do some feathers here. I'm just gonna kind of jump around a little bit because at this point, it's a little bit of you're gonna be playing with it on your own a little bit. But this arm coming down, going over a little more solid. Then we got some claws on the end of that arm. Right? Arm there. Claws. Then with this body, we're gonna come down just a little bit, 2 lines on the side. And we got big old bear feet. Yeah. Then we got claws on there. Looking good, guys. Now here's where you would start to fill in with some of these feathers. Okay, here's a couple eye techniques. Little circle in here, little circle in here, off to the side. Fill in the rest dark here. Look at that guy. We haven't used the pen much today. Gosh darn it, I'm gonna have to either make these things longer or choose less to do, huh? It was either the Owlbear or the Battlemap. You can see how I'm filling it in here. This part here is fun because this is kind of a dark feathery part of the eye. Little beak with the little nose. Here we're getting down in time, folks. You're doing good, everybody. Keep it up. This is where we'll add some of these feathers. And then we just hope they sync up there. We'll do the overlapping feathers again. Where it comes up a little bit, remember the feather, inset it a little bit. Don't come straight from those tips. Inset it a little bit, it can come down a little lower. And the feathers don't have to be perfectly lined up all the time because that's the magic of feathers. They don't lay perfectly uniform everywhere all the time. But you can start to see this texture, this pattern happening here. And I'm just kind of making it up as I go along feather-wise. Some of them will just be lines or the suggestion of a feather. Oh, I need some sharp. His head. You can fill out this little ear a little bit if you want. Feathers. And then also you can add some feathers here down to the body. I'm just doing this right now because we're getting close to our hour. It's been great hanging out with everybody. Thank you for being here on chat and for hanging out on the screen. I really, really do appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful day. We're not done yet. I just wanted to get that in case I forgot later. I'm just doing the suggestion of feathers in some of these places. You know feathers are there. Those claws are a little quick. You might want to bring those claws a little better. Something like that. Yay! Good, good, good. I'm glad you love your owlbear. Yeah, I can't wait to, if you guys want to, no pressure or anything. I know sometimes you don't want to show people your work, but feel free to drop some images on the Facebook. And again, these are just little feathers. And then for the body, here's where we're going to use our triple texture a little bit. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And it's just going to give the idea a little bit of fur. It's not the tight texture, it's just a little bit loose here. This is where I would turn my notebook some as I'm going and hit those textures, just so those angles are perfect little. This all starts to get, what does your owlbear look like? Is he mostly feathers? Is he mostly fur? They are ferocious. You go on Google and look up owlbear. There's this beautiful version, this beautiful painted one, and it's kind of purple and cool looking. Do some more feathers down here. And again, those claws, they kind of went quick there. Knocked over my tablet. Nobody be worried. Boom, boom, boom. You see that little texture going on. That's the basic owlbear, my friends. That is the basic owlbear I drew. You can see how he looks. Again, we started with that V, little eyes, bigger eyes, beak. That's the basic. Look at that right there. That could be an owl. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. Right over here. Great, great. A belly button. That's beautiful. Great. That is a good maneuver to have bunny ears. That's what I was thinking of over here. He's got a little bunny friend. Little bunny friend right here. Little bunny feet happening. There we go. Owlbear with a little bunny friend. Thank you guys. Good job. Practice, practice all these techniques. I hope I gave you something that you can use to have fun with and entertain yourself and show off to your friends a little bit and have a good time sharing. If anybody you know wants to learn to draw, bring them over and then show them some of these techniques. None of these are mine to own or anything. Everything I'm drawing and doing is something that you can do too. I appreciate all of you very much. Goodbye. Be safe, everybody. Thank you. Goodbye.